Welcome into the show. We have got a very, very busy show on the docket lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. Could it possibly drop 50%? We're going to hear from a big hedge fund manager. Yeah, 50. I know. Don't freak out. Don't hold on.
Don't do what I think you're going to do, which is flip out.
Which is free. Don't go flip it out on me, everybody. 50% drop. Well, we're going to hear from someone who believes that's the case. But look, you got to, just hold on tight. So we'll look at the data this morning. We're going to analyze some of the data on Bitcoin. Let's start with the markets this morning. And there's some movement this morning on Bitcoin. So let's start there on the Bitcoin front. I know David's freaking out a little bit here about his Bitcoin investment. Doesn't want to lose money on this, and I don't blame him. Well, there is concerns this morning that this thing could drop 50% of its value. So right now, about 55, hovering around this 55, pop down to 54. Could run up. It's up a little under 1% this morning. But the CIO of Guggenheim Partners, Scott Minerd, is back this morning with another pretty bad prediction, a pretty bearish prediction for Bitcoin's price. Let's listen to Scott on this.
Where prices are going.
Given the massive move we've had in Bitcoin over the short run, things are very frothy, and I think we're going to have a major correction in Bitcoin. And I've said it before, I think we could pull back to 20 to 30,000 on Bitcoin, which would be a 50% decline.
How does that make you feel? 20 to 30,000?
I got a question
Bitcoin.
Though. How much is that? So he has the same data he's looking at that you can. How much of that is like when they see, because crypto, like Bitcoin is probably kind of pissing people off, right? Like the money powers and stuff that be. So how much of that is like propaganda campaign to scare people to get out of it, to actually make it go down? You know how they can actually manipulate stocks by these press releases and these media junket things.
Well, I mean, this is exactly what people are saying this morning about Scott. He's ultimately bullish. He comes out in the same phrase, and he's just like, look, I think that this could go to 600,000. Like, I'm seeing it going to 600,000. So the criticism is like, what's he doing? Is he pumping this thing so that he can get in at a good price? Maybe. And I got to tell you what, if it does drop to 20,000, I'm buying in again. I mean, here's a dip. Do you think it's going to just stay at 20,000 for its life? No. This thing is going to be coming back. Of course it will. And it has before. It's going to again. I mean, how many years of history do we have now? Is it 12 years of history with this coin? So, Scott, I think you're right about that. I think that's what happens on these correction stories. Somebody makes big news like this and it drops, then they just jump in and buy a lot of it. I mean, this has been happening. This kind of manipulation has been happening in the stock market for as long as you can remember. I've blasted it here on the show where you talk on CNBC. You get a guy who gets on CNBC and then just says, I'd sell all of my Ford stock right now. Suddenly Ford stock plummets and then he buys up more of it, So I don't know. I think so. If you're worried about Bitcoin if dropping to 20, 30,000 right now, you're okay to worry. But again, money is made in these fear-based moments. And so if it drops to 20 or 30, that's when you think about doubling. That's when I think about doubling down on that. But there's also other thoughts on this. Another very popular investor who's very bullish and has just a boatload of Bitcoin was asked about that. What happens if this actually collapses? What if it does drop 50% or drops below where you bought it at 20 for your company and your clients? What happens then?
Okay, so me and Sam were asking different questions. Sam wanted to know more about the morale. I want to know if we do see another Bitcoin, crash, draw down 50%, 60%, what happens to your position and what happens to your point of view?
Well, we have permanent capital, so it doesn't make a difference to us, right? Like right now, for example, we have a $3 billion investment gain. So if you cut Bitcoin in half, we would still have an investment gain, right? I mean, our basis is 24,000. So if it goes down to less than 24,000 and stays there forever, then it will have not been a good investment, I suppose. But otherwise, we've got a long-term strategy, which is you buy it and hold it. And I think that a lot of people live in fear of volatility, but a lot of people live in fear of a lot of things, right? If you have enough fear, you won't leave your house, you won't do anything. And so you have to have a bit of courage and conviction. I can give you 1,000 reasons why I think it makes sense to invest in Bitcoin. I can't give you any reason why I should be afraid to do a rational thing. So, it doesn't really bother me, right? This is a rational strategy. If I had it to do all over again, would I? Of course I would, right? Ask all the investors that made billions and billions of dollars, over the time frame, right? Of course you would do it again.
Would you do it again? I would. So again, just cautioning. And, we also got this news from the Fed this morning, too, on Bitcoin, which is putting out statements saying that this is a store of value. This is like gold. And so when you hear that from the Federal Reserve saying that this is a play that's worth, that's worth holding on to for the long haul, on certainly on crypto, but on Bitcoin particularly, you hear this, we're going to see this correction. Okay. So we might see this 50% pull, 50% pullback, but where is it going to go? It's going to go back up again. And how high does it go? Well, if you're watching The Simpsons the other night, take a look at this. You might have known, look at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if on the most recent episode of The Simpsons, it was just showing random stock tickers and it shows Bitcoin going to infinity. So if you're a Simpsons fan, forget that 60K threshold. This thing is going up. I mean, you can see it going up to 600,000 or higher.
And how many predictions have the Simpsons gotten right over the years?
I don't know.
Lots.
Do you have lots?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. In 32 seasons, right? They've had 32 seasons. They've had a lot of, yeah.
They even predicted Trump president a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at look at Ethereum right now. So, Ethereum moving right now, folks. So here's Ethereum. Look at wow, up, nice. 13% and moving. So if any of you guys jumped into Ethereum when I was telling you to at 20 or 2,000, 2,100, 2,200, 23, then it dropped when we had that big Bitcoin drop this past weekend. Now look at it, up 13%. So we've got some good movement right now in Ethereum. Let's see what, and Bitcoin, Bitcoin's steady about 54 right now. But some movement on Ethereum. So here's Doge at this hour. Doge at 29. Doge at 29. And so there are some signals on Doge, by the way, that we could see Doge moving in a big way. And give me a few examples on why I think I'm seeing some signals on Doge and why we could see this popping up again. If you're just joining us, we saw some movement on Ethereum. We saw Ethereum popping nicely. But the question you might be having this morning is, what about Dogecoin? Will it explode in value? Will it go back up? There are three big signals right now on Doge that shows that it could be the case. Number one is Doge Day, right? The other day we had Doge Day and it had people adopting Dogecoin. We had a number of different exchanges jumping in, like Webull and different places that were all allowing Dogecoin payments. And now you could trade it, and popular formats tend to dominate this space, right? When you've got PayPal jumping into Bitcoin, and now you've got a lot of these large companies now adding Dogecoin, currency is valuable only if other people accept it, right? So even if technologically older cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are winners, you've got a lot of movement on some of these. For instance, we had, I think it was Newegg. Do you ever buy anything off of Newegg?
Yes.
You can, now they're accepting Dogecoin. So Newegg is now accepting Doge, and more companies are now going to be accepting Doge. So number two reason why to pay attention to Doge, there's a lot of positive momentum. Even after we have seen some big drops in price, they were then followed by some nice big upswings in value, and a lot of people make money buying in these dips. So even if we had pullbacks, people buy in those dips, and then we see a nice upward movement. Relatively speaking, like if Dogecoin's 25% loss on Tuesday, a lot of people looked at like that as a short-term buying opportunity. and they're going to let this thing run up 10, 11, 12%. Then they'll take some profits, and that's how this thing continues to go up. Number 3 on Dogecoin, it's the coin everyone wants. It's the coin like everyone's talking about today. I checked on Reddit today. Dogecoin still, their subreddit has 1.5 million subscribers. It's one of the most popular forums on Reddit. And then, of course, you have Elon Musk, and you have but the company Slim Jim also posting in tweets about that in support of Dogecoin. So, again, I think you see this little bit of pullback on Doge, but just keep your eye on it. I don't treat it as Bitcoin. To me, it's not a store of value like you'd have with some of these other coins. But at 28 right now, it's just 29. Just keep your eye on Doge, and if you see a good little retest spot to jump in, might be a good thing. I mean, it's hard to overstate this. You have wine. Wine is a good comparison here because wine lovers. They've long been known that they admit tasting wines aren't always the good tasting wines aren't always the most expensive. And so sometimes they'll just buy names, right? So Dogecoin's 2021 rise has sort of planted a lot of seeds in this, so for similar success. And as you have Dogecoin right now, their profile has risen. Developers, merchants have already started paying attention again. I mentioned Newegg and other commercial vendors are also allowing it as a payment option right now. So keep your eye on Doge. We'll check back in on that. And then let's look at some gold prices this morning. Up again, and silver also up this morning.